Welcome to another great episode of the Beyond Normal podcast. I'm your host, Kenny Groom. I'm excited to be bringing to you all an incredible founder here in my very backyard of Charlotte, North Carolina. Our guest today is Marcus Wade. He is the founder at Genesis One Technologies LLC, which is the parent company for some incredible tech that's being put into a lot of the venues that you all are going to today in terms of the topper stopper. There's some incredible innovation going on at this company. I want to make sure I'm highlighting this fellow founder business owner in the Charlotte market. So without further ado, let's bring Marcus to the stage. How's it going, sir?
Going great. I see Charlotte stand up.
Yes, indeed. And you know what? I'm glad that you brought that up because when I initially started this journey
Hmm.
for Beyond Normal Media, I did not necessarily connect the founder journey, tech founder, the tech space in general to our home market of Charlotte, North Carolina. But here we
Hmm.
are 5, 6 years later, and I know you have some incredible uh, a, insights to add when it comes to founders in this Charlotte market that we both live in.
Well, let me tell you, the reason why years ago it was like that because there really wasn't tech forward. But now, through companies or organizations like Innovate Charlotte, um, there is a really big push in technology and startup culture here in the Charlotte region itself. They actually call Charlotte Silicon South now. So you got Silicon Valley over there with Silicon South, and it's growing. In Charlotte, there's a whole technology corridor that goes from UNC Charlotte all the way through uptown and forward up to or down towards South End now. So we're in the right spot at the right time.
Yeah, I love that. You threw my alma mater out there, so I
Yeah.
appreciate you throwing them in there. The campus and just
Yes.
the amount of funding that has gone into the university has really been incredible to see, and I'm glad that you're tapped in there. But
Yeah.
I want to make sure that we set the stage for this
Okay.
conversation. I want folks to learn a little bit about before you were at this point, right, where Genesis One, the topper stopper. What were you doing? Like, what was driving you? What was your passion in life?
So my passion in life is completely different from what we're doing now. And you can have a passion and still have a business that's unrelated. But my passion in life is to reach this at-risk generation through radical Christian music. I am a international DJ and music producer based here in Charlotte, North Carolina. I've been producing music since 2010, and my whole purpose is just that what I said. So I my music style is deep house dance music, and you're like, hold up, you say you want to reach people with radical Christian music. How are you going to do that with dance music? That is the actual reason how we go and we perform abroad. We perform in venues in Ibiza, in Amsterdam yearly, Switzerland, Paris, France, London, England, anywhere where the Lord would have me to go to reach a soul, play a stage, big venue, small venue, doesn't matter. I would say I'll play the same for one person versus if it's a crowd of 10,000, doesn't matter. So that's my
Mm,
whole mission. And the business helps me to fund my mission. And that's why the business is here.
I love that. That is, yeah, you touching on that. It makes so much sense to say, the technology can learn a lot from faith and the
Yes.
way that it connects. Like you mentioned, people really across the world, across different boundaries, a different,
Yeah.
whatever is there to separate us, right?
Yeah.
The aspects of faith really are there to like kind of remove those barriers. And
You're
so
right.
it makes sense for tech to be at this point now where someone such as yourself can really take that experience
Uh-huh.
and you apply it in the tech space. I have never heard anybody really explain it that way, Marcus. I'll be
Well,
honest.
well, I'm gonna give you the full background of it. And so the idea to do and create the topper stopper, it really wasn't my idea. Let me just set that level plane there. It wasn't a divine idea. Um, the short story is that I met with my daughter's professor, her sixth grade professor. No, I'm sorry, eighth grade professor, and we were talking about AI, and he asked me to do something for him. I did it for him, and then he came back with a problem that he was having, and the problem was that they were helping a large beverage company here in the city. If you know anything about large beverage companies, you know that Coca-Cola is here. They were helping Coca-Cola to do things in a stadium, and they wanted to get the recyclables back, and the way they were doing it didn't really land with me. Like, well, in the way you're doing it is a lot of manual labor. You got to go and grab all these bags of that. I was like, that's got to be a better way. So didn't think anything of it. Came home, and the next morning I was doing my devotional, and the devotional was about a a guy that reinvented or restructured a bow and arrow. And now the way that we see bow and arrows today is his invention years ago. So I asked God to give me an idea to help him. Then I said, wait a minute, not just help him, not just help Coca-Cola. Give me an idea that would change the way people look at recycling worldwide. I went to bed, woke up the next morning, the idea was in my head. And then that's where the topper stopper actually came from.
Mm, that's dope,
Hmm.
man.
Hmm.
That's dope. And this is one of those things where when somebody initially hears certain topics, right,
Hmm.
they're not sexy. Like you
Yeah.
said, like waste
Yeah.
management for
Oh
a
God, no.
big beverage brand is like that's not the
No.
kids are not clamoring to talk about that. Like we can be
No. No.
honest. But
No.
that
Who's
is a
recycling in the US? We don't recycle here.
exactly, but I can imagine like when you start to uncover, oh, there's this much involved in it, you start to see some
Yes.
of the opportunities that
Yes.
they're just not sexy and they're below the surface a
Yes.
little bit, right?
Yes. Yeah, exactly. And you're right. The idea of wait, so here's the big thing. How can you impact recycling in the US? It's like a daunting task. You know, there's plastic bottles and streams and oceans all around, and do you know? Here's an interesting fact. Every 17.9 seconds, we North Carolinians throw away enough plastic bottles to reach the height of the Bank of America Tower.
Wow,
So
it's
think
crazy.
about that. Literally every 18 seconds. So how do you impact that? How do you do that? And this is where the divine inspiration, the divine idea comes, because my the what I got was create this device that would eliminate contamination in the trash streams. So when people are recycling in a recycling bin, what do you normally see there? You normally see all kind of stuff inside there other than recycling. So what the topper stopper does, it inhibits that. You can't put anything inside the bin unless you scan the items. And when you scan the item, the barcode, it opens up. You can put it in there. It keeps the recycling trash bin clean. I was like, God, that is an amazing idea. If you look at
Mm-hmm.
the way it came about, it was a very crude cardboard box and a little small little toy motor that would open and close if I scanned a little basic little QR code thing, and it worked. I was like, wow. So from there, it came into this right here. And it goes back to that's why I call my company Genesis One Technologies, because in the beginning, God did what? First thing he did was he created. That's the very first thing we
Mm-hmm.
find out about God. Not that he loves us, not that he's a healer, not that he's a provider, that he's a creator. So if we are made in the image of God, then we are creators. So
Mm-hmm.
that's how I say, you know what, I'm going to lean on that, and what you're doing, you're living in your divine aspect of being like God by being a creator. So that's what it
Mm-hmm.
is. So this is God's creation, literally brought forth.
I did.
I know that's not what you normally hear on a startup type thing and talking
I
business,
love it.
but
No, I love it. I
that's
love it.
real. I'm gonna have to give it to you real and raw.
So I'm curious. Do you still have that cardboard box? I hope.
Yes,
Yeah, I was about
absolutely.
to
I keep
say
that.
like that
Absolutely.
sounds like as you were just talking, I could see like that being like the thing that's like auctioned
Yeah.
off, like when this like thing becomes like what I truly believe it's going to become, and then somebody's
Right.
going to be say, hey, I want that for a blank check.
Right,
That's
exactly. It is. I
amazing.
keep it and it literally still works too. It still
So
works, and I have every. We're in our sixth version of the topper stopper, and I have every version of that of the topper stopper from its most crude. I wouldn't even call that MVP. That was like I don't even know what to call that. That was a prototype, a rough prototype at that, all the way up
mm,
to the more polished version that we see now. So it's just a
that's
blessing.
dope.
Hmm.
And and I'll be honest, as you were sitting there telling that story, you actually invoked some stories in my head. I grew up in
Hmm.
Connecticut,
Uh
and
huh.
we would have to go to the recycling center
Yes.
with my dad. Um,
Yes.
and I don't know if he was punishing us, but he was like trying to. I think he was like, "Here's how much output you all have. Like you're gonna understand like each of
Uh
these
huh.
bottles you're gonna put in this machine, and you're gonna get
Yes.
a nickel back
Exactly.
or nothing, right? Because it couldn't scan the code.
Yes.
Um,
Yes.
and that's
I
just
used to do the
thinking,
same thing.
yeah.
My
And so
grandmother
this,
would take me down to a store and with glass bottles, and we would take those
mm-hmm,
glass bottles and they give us back the same thing when I was a little kid. And but
mm,
but that are that's in Virginia and Connecticut, which is two of the five states that still do that type of buyback type things. But the vast majority don't. So
yeah,
what
they don't.
happens in North Carolina and South Carolina and all the other states? You're going off of people's
Hmm.
goodwill.
Yeah. Okay,
Hmm.
so let's talk a little bit about going from that box, which is the
Hmm.
prototype. Like you
Hmm.
said, it worked. Proof of
Hmm.
concept, check the box,
Hmm.
right? But let's talk
Yes.
a little bit about all right, going from that cardboard box to getting the invention off the ground, and then potentially going from like a working prototype that looks a certain way to the product that
Yes.
you have on screen right now behind you.
Yes. Yes. So here is how that process happened. Um, a few months prior to, let's go back to that story. A few months prior to meeting my daughter's professor at that time, which was 3 years ago, I started uh, going to a local reserve or a local park, as we would call it, Saturday mornings, and what I call TWG, Time of God. And the TWG time is time that I spend with him to get downloads for business only. This is literally just business only. Um, and after meeting with him and doing the prototype, I continued that even to this every single this day now, every Saturday. And throughout those sessions and times, I am literally getting information on how to do this process. From the in the very beginning, earlier stages, this was all about creating and crafting and designing the item, how to even code the item, how to bring the item together. I have a book that I have books rather that I have that I do when I go there. I take notes. This is my fifth one of these, right? And inside of there, I'm getting downloads of data and information and structure or design changes that needs to happen inside of the units or um, how to strategically um, do certain things in the business structure like that. So I am literally getting informational download of what to do every single week, every single day, and how to maneuver throughout this journey, right? Because if it's his idea that he gave me, then I'm leaning on him to give me the literal exact instructions on how to do everything. I know that sounds kind of different and kind of taboo, but sometimes when we recognize that we're in a position and in a place for a certain reason, and it's beyond us, my thought is, okay, if I were looking to build an electric vehicle, and if I knew Elon Musk, I would go to Elon Musk to get all the instructions on how to do that vehicle, correct? Right. So if God gave me the idea to create this business, to create this product and associated services, then I'm going to lean on that source to give me all the instructions. So that's what I've done. And what we see today, every aspect is literally from those Saturday morning times from 7 a.m. to 11, 12 o'clock p.m. of just sitting there in my car or sitting on the side of the little lake there at Mount Island Lake and getting information. That is literally how we've transformed through there. It's not only to just recently within the last 8 months or so that I'm starting to really dive deep into the startup stuff here in Charlotte, the programs like Innovate Charlotte and the Boost Pad, and really now started digging into these resources that I didn't even know existed years ago.
Hmm.
Honestly.
I think I appreciate you breaking it down that way. I think the journey for a founder,
Hmm.
you have to have some of those, like you said, you have to sit down with your thoughts
Hmm.
and let, like you said, like you have to let these things manifest, right?
Yes.
And you
Yeah.
have to, a lot of times, your inner circle, those around you, they're not
Hmm.
necessarily equipped to even give you
Yeah.
that direction. A lot of times, like a lot of us, we don't know, like you said, mentioned, like if we knew Elon Musk, right, I would just say,
Right.
hey man, I want to have a car brand, what do I do? But then
Right.
there's always that gap at times, right, where we don't have that, versus in your case, you have that faith from day one, and so you're
Yes.
definitely
Yes.
leveraging that through this process.
Yes.
um that makes total sense to me, Marcus,
Yeah. And
the way you
you
explained it.
and spot on. That right there is the key. That is the foundation there. Regardless if we're if I'm just working a regular job and didn't have a startup business in place, or if I'm going and creating a new electric vehicle, something like that. It's that basis of my faith. It's my that basis of understanding and knowing who I am, why I exist, and then why it matters that I exist. And
Right.
understanding that where my source comes from as well. You know, if I understand and know that my source is God and that He has access to everything, there's nothing that He doesn't know. So if there is ever a problem that I run into, I ask Him for that solution. Real world example. Um, I used to, when I went to college, I was a computer science major. And now this is back. Okay, I'm going back a little bit. I went to college in 1989. Right, this is back a little bit. So back a little bit there, probably before you were born. Um, the programming language that was out then was called Pascal programming. You
Hmm.
know, most people don't even remember that. And Pascal programming whipped my behind. So I changed from computer science to architecture and engineering. All right, so I'm an engineer. I haven't been coding like that since 1990. So when I came into this, I knew that I'm going to have to code in C++, or Arduino, and then in Python. This is 3 years ago. So I asked God, I was like, literally, hey, look, I'm rusty beyond rusty. I need you to give me the knowledge so that I can do this. And just like that, I began to code. It just literally is like everything just like made sense. I can't explain it. It just made sense. And it was almost like A plus B equals C. I was like, oh, I'm gonna do this right here. YouTube, a little bit. Okay, boom, boom, boom. It's like that. And for a year, I coded the first iterations of the topper stopper utilizing a micro processor called the ESP32. Now, since then, AI has been cooking. So
Mm.
now As with most developers, we don't code like we used to code back then. Now we are prompters. We are giving instructions to the LLMs to code for us because they're faster, they're more precise, they're quicker. And so now it's now utilizing the speed to which I'm able to iterate, bring in new features, um, is literally night and day. Certain things that took me months, literally a year and a half ago, now it takes me maybe days to do, or sometimes even less than days, sometimes hours. So
Hmm.
it's
It's getting
understanding and
scary.
utilizing those
It's
tools.
getting scary, Marcus.
Yes, it is.
The robots are doing a lot. I'm so
Yes, they are.
glad so far. Um, they haven't figured out how to do a podcast for folks
Uh-huh.
because we're podcast producers over here.
I
But
don't know. Have you
there,
been
there
at Google?
there's some tools out there, right? But
Yes, yes,
I think the challenge is still having your authentic voice. Through that is where
yes,
the machines know how to do it, but then
yes,
making it your own
yes,
is still the challenge, right? Everybody can't go to
yes.
Google and say, make my podcast,
Correct,
right? Not
correct.
yet, at least, but
Right.
the robots are definitely coming. I want to
They're
shift
coming.
a little bit and allow you to break down because you talked about
Yes,
the physical aspect of the tool, but then you just dove into you having to reignite the programmer in you,
yes,
right, after college, which I completely understand. It feels like every 5 to 10 years, right, there's a shift in a new language, a
yes,
new kind of style of programming. Now we're vibe coding, right, with
yes.
the prompting and things like that. Talk a
Uh-huh.
little bit about now you have the physical product and you're trying to marry that with the analytics, with the data,
Yeah,
and how that differentiates the topper stopper from, say, other sustainability tools that are out there. Like, how are you positioning this for your
perfect.
target audience?
Absolutely. So, my I've been a senior developer for 20 years, specifically focused on business insights, utilizing tools like Power BI. So the data, I live, eat, sleep data all along, even prior to this. So having an understanding of the data has always been there. Um, Now, what makes the Topper Stopper different from all the other tools, all the other recycling units that are out there? A couple of things. Number one, size. It's compact. Okay. And number two, it's smart. We utilize Raspberry Pi 5s and compute modules in there. So the processing is absolutely amazing and fast. Here's one of the biggest things, or two things of the biggest things there. Number three is we utilize barcodes instead of vision. And here's why. Most of the other items, recycled things, will use a vision model to recognize that this is what? A plastic bottle. But that's all they can tell you. They can't tell you what plastic bottle is. They can't tell you what the size is. They can't tell you the manufacturer. Because why? It just sees the plastic bottle. They would have to do so many iterations and building out the model on that to train it to be able to recognize the actual product itself. So we utilize the barcode because this barcode already resident has 30 or 40 different points of data source in the barcode that's universal, right? So how do we use that? We scan, it recognizes it, we recognize the barcode, and we then use machine learning in the cloud with AWS as one of our partners to then classify that as plastic bottle, aluminum can, glass bottle, etc. When it's classified, we store it in our own repository and send back a message to this specific device saying, hey, that what you scan is a plastic bottle. Open up, allow the user to deposit. And then we take all of that data, store it, and visualize it back to our clients. Say, university, for example, this person, or rather a plastic bottle was scanned at this unit at this time. It had this size. This is how much plastic that you recovered. This is how much carbon footprint you just reduced, it's how much water you just saved, it's how much energy you just saved as well, based upon that. We provide all that data back to the university, and they have a live dashboard they can pull at any given time to meet their sustainability goals. What's different between our units and all the others is that the barcode, the size, and then the fact that it can connect to existing recycling bins. So they don't have to build in, bring in new infrastructure. They don't have to go out and buy anything new. Topper Stopper just fits on top of that. That's what makes it
Mm,
unique in itself.
I love it. I love that.
Mm-hmm.
And I think what's really cool, you're leveraging, like you said, that I don't think people understand. Like there's systems. There's some really cool data
Yeah.
around like things in place already, like barcodes. Like barcodes are
Yep.
not like just this one number, right? This one number
Right.
has different segments, and those segments mean something, and so it's a system in
Right.
and of itself.
Right.
And it's a smart system that definitely grows with the amount of products that we put out into the world. So you're
Exactly.
leveraging that, like you said, versus the approach that a lot of companies use now is I'll try to take a million pictures and use those million
Yeah.
pictures to really classify things.
Now,
So
Kenny, even though with that though, all of this, even though all of us in the space with the Topper Stopper and all of the competitors, even all of that we're doing, there's still something missing. Just because is we got it there, and just because the Topper Stopper keeps it clean, and just because the other guys keep their stuff clean, there's still something missing. It's the ability to change the way that people um, react and
mm,
think about recycling. That's the problem. So
yeah,
that's the problem to solve. So here's how we're solving that problem. All right. So let's use the University of South Carolina, where we have our pilot programs right now. They have 5 units there, 6 will be deployed soon. Um, we started in November of 2025, and all the way up until the January 1, the students recycled 609 items throughout that time. And that's Thanksgiving holidays and Christmas holidays and the breaks and all that right there, which is pretty good. It's about somewhere at 23, 24 items per day. So, of goodwill of students wanting to do the right thing, that's what they accomplished. 609 items, right? It's like something like almost 1,400 gallons of water saved there. It was like, I think it's like 400 kilowatt hours of energy, which could run 3 houses for like 7 days or something like that. Let's really get it in that aspect. Now, that's off of people doing the right thing just because they want to. Here's where we change it. At the end of this month, we launched our TS Rewards app. So when you recycle, you will also get rewarded as well. So every time you recycle a plastic bottle, for example, you get 5 points. If you recycle an aluminum can, you get 10 points. Now it goes into your app. Now those points accumulate in your app. If you're on campus, you can then redeem those points on campus for food at the caf, free t-shirts and swag at the bookstore. Associated businesses will be bringing together in that they can go off campus and say, "Oh, yeah, I can get a free pizza for 500 points," or "I could take 300 points and go get me a Starbucks coffee," or "I can to use 50 points and use that for my bus pass to go uptown, Spartanburg, whatever." The thing that we're changing is now we're making recycling a economy versus something just to do to save the environment, which is still good. But now we're trying to make it into an economy as well. That is where we're changing the aspect. That's what makes our Topper Stopper and our associated TS Rewards application different, because we're wanting to actually impact that. And now we don't have to worry about just being in a deposit state like we were when we were kids. Now this is across every state, everywhere, because now you can take those points and redeem them everywhere. So our goal right now is we're on college campuses, so there'll be closed ecosystems. But in the future, the goal is to be able to have Topper Stopper units set up around different areas of cities, and you're able to go and do that in the city. And then in the city, we will have different partners or different redemption locations at Ulta Beauty, Starbucks, or Dunkin' Donuts, or even heck, the city of Charlotte. Pay your gas bill with it,
Yeah.
whatever like that. Whatever way we look into ways. And another thing is, often we'll see the homeless population gathering bottles and stuff like that. Now imagine if they're able to gather bottles of and go and then redeem that to get something to eat, or go and be able to get some clothing or food or something like that, shelter, go to maybe CBS and buy some toiletries, things like that sort of nature. We're looking at every aspect of, okay, the let's take our mind out of it. How can we, number one, make our state and our city and our country impact recycling over holistically, change people's minds of recycling and incentivize them, and then also have a great positive social impact as well. So we're trying to bring all that together with the Topper Stopper and our services.
I love that. I love that.
Hmm.
The idea in there, in all that you explained in there, there was one consistent thread around this idea that certain areas of our economy or just our normal way of life are like
Hmm.
they're cost centers. They're
Yes.
only looked at as cost centers. And
Yes.
so there's
Yes.
ways now that we have the robots coming. The robots are
Hmm.
going to be doing all the heavy lifting. We see all the videos and everything like that. Now that we have some of those things that are at least on the horizon,
Hmm.
there's opportunity in a lot of these spaces where it was just a call center before, but now once you tap into that data, given someone such as
Hmm.
yourself with a business insight mindset, now there's
Hmm.
revenue there's opportunities to unlock,
Yes.
and it seems
Yes.
unlimited. Like I'm pretty sure you could have went on with just even more ideas just
Yeah.
now around this space, and that is really cool to see. Again, non-sexy
Yeah.
areas of our daily life, there is
Yeah.
so much value to
Yes.
unlock. And a big focus for me, the listeners know, has been B two B, business to business, business to government. We all see the news. It seems like that's where a lot of the funding is going
Yeah.
right now, right? And
Yeah.
so
Yes.
there's a concerted effort away from B two C
Yep.
businesses.
Hmm.
I'm excited to see it. I definitely think it's going to be some growing pains in terms of the next generation of founders. But
Yeah.
B2B is so much. There's just so much opportunity out
It
there, and I
really is.
appreciate you really speaking to that because we're seeing more and more of that now.
Yeah, just in the U.S. alone, for and our initial target market is colleges and universities. Um, these colleges and universities already have mandates that they have to meet certain sustainability goals and metrics across their campuses. And think about it, they're basically small cities. If you really think about it, they're small
Hmm.
little ecosystems. So um, the in the U.S. These colleges yearly spend $1.8 billion just on sustainability type of programs. And even with that spend, they're not getting any data. Stuff is still going to recycling, still
Hmm.
going to landfills, and the students are still not being engaged at all.
Yeah,
Right.
and
So,
they're
well,
about to have less resources at the
exactly. They're getting
universities.
cut. They're getting cut like that throughout, and like different political seasons happen where there's more money, there's less money. There's definitely less money now. There's less grants and things of a certain nature. So they're looking for ways to be able to meet these goals. And that's where we come into place and say, hey, look, here's a solution that is not expensive. It's cheaper than all the other things out there, but you're getting the value that it brings is beyond everything that you can actually uh, look at on a competitive nature. So
Yeah,
it's just really trying to tap in and lock in with those universities across the nation.
I love that. And I want to just circle back to
Hmm.
Charlotte. I know we talked a little bit about the city at the beginning of the call. For you specifically, I guess, like, what are you seeing? Like, we definitely have talked about faith,
Uh-huh.
entrepreneurship, and just like the
Hmm.
local impact of a tool like Topper Stopper.
Hmm.
Like, when you think about all three of those things, like, what does Charlotte do for you? Maybe are there opportunities where the city should do
Wow.
more? Like, what are you thinking along those lines?
Well, first and foremost, so like I said earlier, I didn't know that we even had a startup community here in Charlotte years ago. It's just honestly been in the last year that I've locked in. And like for example, I'm standing right now in the collab space with UNC Charlotte's collab space. Uh, and this is I have access to this for a year, and in the next few months, I will be building out our own office space here in this building, which is fantastic. So the Charlotte region and the resources that we have here are critical. And we got to getting locked in and understanding where to look opens up the entire door. When I came across the organization called Innovate Charlotte, they are literally um, their purpose is to grow the startup community here in the Charlotte region. So it's run by a gentleman named Juan Garza, I think is his last name, and or Garzone, and they connect any startup in business here in the Charlotte region to a wealth of other things. So, for like example, one of the things that they connected me to was a cohort called the Boost Pad. And the Boost Pad was amazing. The Boost Pad helped me to get a good understanding of my business and structure, helped me to get it financially in order, and then also prepare for funding as well. So they literally started from the basis of what your idea is and get you all the way up into where you're actually able to go out and do pitches to investors and get funding for that. 14-week process, an amazing thing there. So the region of Charlotte and these Innovate Charlotte and different organizations and startup communities are absolutely a wealth of information, and I'm still reaching out to do more things and even get more understanding and connect more in our area and region. So yeah.
Yeah, I love that. Shout out to the
Hmm.
city.
Yes.
So next up, you know, we're definitely wrapping up towards the end, but just
Hmm.
give us a glimpse into, what are you thinking in terms of the vision of the company, the growth. You obviously have Genesis One, which is like the parent company, all the way down to Wastewise, which is like your distribution arm.
Hmm.
Talk a little
Hmm.
bit about where the company is headed, and maybe 5 years out. If you're thinking that far out, so far, and I'm pretty
Yes.
sure you already are. Like, where do you see the company going?
Well, our first goal of the next 3 years is to really reach out to these colleges first and get the topper stoppers on these college campuses. There's 7,200 and some change colleges here in the U.S. Um, we are connected to some that are very eco-friendly. That we know that they are looking for ideas and things of, for example, University of South Carolina Upstate. They are very forward-thinking. University of North Carolina here in Charlotte is very forward-thinking as well. So we're looking to connect to those type of universities that are already forward-thinking, thinking about ways of how they can impact the recycling rates on their campuses and how they can also engage with their students. Those are the universities that we're looking to reach out to and help. Secondarily, there are a whole nother aspect of business as well that are eco-friendly. They're looking for um, ways of engaging with their employees on their campuses as well. So we're looking to grow our businesses in those two sectors, expand our product line. We have the Topper Stopper here. We have TS Rewards, this is the application that we spoke about before. And then we also have TS Media, where every single Topper Stopper is a digital billboard in essence. So we're able to sell advertising to advertising partners there on a quarterly basis. So really, our goal is to really get our foothold into the higher educational space, and then merge off into the eco-friendly business space there, and get the Topper Stopper into every sector that we possibly can that is looking to do something and reduce the recycling and engaging with a certain population.
I love that. So I just want to say thank you so much, Marcus, for sharing your story. It's been incredible just to hear it. I did my
Uh,
research obviously before the conversation, but to hear you really articulate how you've gone from your journey in faith to now you're taking that faith with you and becoming a tech founder. Amazing
Yes.
to hear this. Like, I'm going to be telling everybody once this episode comes out, but even before then, that they definitely need to be tapping in with you. What's the easiest way for folks to tap in with the company, with you, if they have any follow up?
Sure. You can always reach out to me on my website at Genesis, the number one dot tech, or LinkedIn. LinkedIn is the platform that I am trying to engage more into on this upcoming year. So always reach out to me on LinkedIn or DM. And then also say as well, thank you as well for how you're focusing on businesses and focusing on the journeys of solopreneurs and startups and how you're exposing that to the market as a whole. So I want to thank you for you and your network and the podcast, and pray that you could continue to get blessings and that you expand, explode. And I want to see, oh, this is on the Apple top or Spotify's top 5 business podcast. There we go. So I remember back in the day when Kenny
Yeah.
did this and that. So yeah, so
I
so
love it.
continue to do what you're doing, because you have a voice and you're giving voice to other startup and other businesses that don't necessarily have that same voice and connection that you have. So thank you so much
Appreciate that.
from all of us.
Appreciate that so much. I'm gonna keep doing this for as long as I can, Lord willing.
Uh-huh.
I want
Yes.
to I want to pass it to you one last time for the final word. I want to phrase it this way though. You've built an incredible movement from an idea that nobody else really spent the time on, right? What's a
Hmm.
hard truth that you think folks need to hear about innovation, innovative
Hmm.
businesses, right? In
Hmm.
this moment. Like they may not want to hear it, but they need to hear it in order for them to get to that next level.
So here's what I say, that each of us are placed here on this earth to do something. We all have our own mission. We all have a certain path that is already pre-designed and predestined for us. Okay. So what my suggestion, my prayer is that you each person would get an understanding. Let's take business out of it. It's not even about business. Get an understanding of who you are and of God in your life, and allow him to first thing you'll do, once you make one step to God, he'll make 2 steps to you. And when you ask him about giving you your understanding of who you are, he will display that and give you that information freely. And then once you know that, then it can now help you to get to where you need to go. He will guide you and direct you along the path. And if he's guiding you, then you're not going to sway off the path. You're not going to fall off the cliff, because he's giving you that direction. My suggestion, my prayer is that everyone gets an understanding of the creator in their life, and then be creative. Understand the creator and be creative.
Mhm. Thank you so much, Marcus. And for everyone tuning
Thank
in,
you.
thank you for listening to this incredible episode of the Beyond Normal podcast. Peace.